If I was starting completely from scratch today, on a low income, no investments, no savings, a loan still hanging over me, here's exactly what I'd do, in the exact order I'd do it. And I can tell you this without guessing, because it's more or less where I actually started. Not from money, from a flight attendant's income, then a broke student's, then a working student earning very little with a student loan to clear. So this isn't theory from someone who's always been comfortable. It's the order I climbed, and the order I'd climb again. Here's the thing nobody says clearly enough. You do not need a big salary to build real wealth. You need the right order. Do these steps out of sequence, and you stay stuck no matter what you earn. I know, because I later earned a lot and stayed stuck anyway. Do them in order on a small income, and you start building ground under your feet that no employer can pull away. By the end of this video, you'll know the whole sequence, where most people go wrong, and where the low income start is secretly an advantage. Quick thing before we go deeper, if you've ever felt your income is just too small to ever get ahead, hit like and subscribe, because this entire video is the argument against that feeling. It's free, and it tells me this is worth making. And one honest thing up front, because transparency isn't optional on this channel, everything here is educational, not financial advice. I'm walking you through the order I run for myself, not telling you what to do with your specific money. Your income, your country, your tax rules, those are yours. And for real decisions, talk to someone qualified. Good, let's build. Step 1. And almost nobody wants to start here, but starting anywhere else is why people fail before they begin. Get your foundation in order before you invest a single euro. Here's a reality worth sitting with. A huge share of adults couldn't cover a small surprise expense, a few €100, without borrowing. And that is exactly what sinks people the moment they start investing. Because if your card dies or your laptop breaks and you've got nothing set aside, you're forced to yank money out of your investments at the worst possible time. And you learn to associate investing with panic. So before any of the exciting stuff, 3 things. First, face where your money actually goes. Not guess. Look. Pull 3 months of statements. Sort every expense into needs and wants. Needs keep you alive. Rent, food, transport, bills, insurance. Wants are everything else. The forgotten subscriptions, the takeaway, the small emotional purchases that make a rough day survivable. And I'm not preaching from a pedestal here. I've done the sweet treat after a brutal meeting thing more times than I'll admit. Add up your needs and you get your baseline, the real minimum your life costs. Most people have never calculated this one number, and that's precisely why they feel out of control. You can't manage what you've never measured. On a low income, this step matters more, not less, because every euro is already doing a job. You just want it doing the job on purpose instead of on autopilot. Second, before you invest, build a small buffer. This is where low-income earners get knocked back to zero over and over, living one bad week from a crisis. So you build an emergency fund, eventually 3 to 6 months of your baseline, but you don't start there. You start with a few hundred, then 1 month, then more. Keep it somewhere separate and slightly annoying to reach, out of temptation's way. This isn't holiday money or new phone money. It's insurance against chaos. And the real return isn't the cash. It's that your stress drops the moment you stop silently asking, what if something goes wrong? Because you've already answered it. Third, get your income and spending stable enough that you know what you can consistently set aside, even if it's tiny. Because when your basics are covered, you can stay calm when markets wobble later instead of panic selling. If you're at the debt or buffer stage right now, you are not behind. That is level 1 of building wealth, not a delay before it. Which brings me to the debt itself, and it's right to start here, because this is where the loan comes in. Clear expensive, high-interest debt before you invest. Investing while carrying a high-interest credit card is like filling a bucket that's got a hole in the bottom. The long-run average return of a broad stock market sits far below what those cards charge you. So every euro you invest is losing a race against the interest you're paying. The math just doesn't work until the expensive debt is gone. Here's my own version, honestly. I had a student loan and I paid it off within a year of starting work. And I want to be careful saying that, because 1 year sounds fast and not everyone can move that quickly. My circumstances let me, yours might take longer, and that's completely fine. The method doesn't change with the speed. List your debts, pay the minimum on all of them, then throw every spare euro at the most expensive one first, then the next. If you need momentum more than math, pay the smallest balance off first for the psychological win. Both work. Consistency is the whole game. And here's the reframe that makes it bearable. Killing a high-interest debt is a guaranteed return. You might not get a big return from the market in a given year, but you absolutely get one every time you erase a high-interest debt. Let me pause here because I want an actual conversation in the comments, not just a view count. Here's my honest question, and I want you to pick a side. When money is genuinely tight, what would you attack first? Killing the debt or building the emergency buffer? Because the textbook answer and the answer that keeps a real human sane are not always the same, and I go back and forth on it myself. Tell me which you'd do first and why. The answer that makes me rethink my own order gets pinned. I read them, I mean it. Step 2. Now that the foundation's in, define what you're actually investing for. Most people never do this. They download an app, buy a couple of random funds or a trending stock, and hope. Then the market dips or they need cash, and they sell at exactly the wrong moment. So ask the boring question first. What is this money for, and when do I need it? Money you need within about 5 years, a deposit, a big life event, generally shouldn't be in the market, because short-term, it's a bumpy ride. Money you won't touch for 5 years or more is where investing does its work, because time smooths the bumps out. Your goal decides your risk and your timeline, not a stranger on the internet's hot tip. Step 3. Pick the account and don't drown in this. This is where people lose hours to research and open nothing. Once your foundation's set and your goals clear, it's genuinely simple. Use whatever tax-advantaged account exists where you live, because letting your growth go untaxed makes an enormous difference over time. If you're employed and there's any kind of workplace or employer-matched retirement contribution, use it. A match is free money and you rarely beat it. The exact account depends entirely on your country, so I'm not going to name one and call it advice. The point is, pick the tax-advantaged wrapper, open it, done. That single step puts you most of the way to being an investor. Step 4. Start small and be relentlessly consistent. This is the part low-income earners are told isn't for them, and it's a lie. The amount matters far less than the consistency and the time. A modest amount, invested regularly into a low-cost, broadly diversified fund left alone for a couple of decades, does more than most people believe. Not through luck, through compounding. Compounding is just your returns earning their own returns, and it snowballs quietly the longer you leave it. The person who starts small and never stops beats the one who starts big, panics, and pulls out. So if all you can begin with is small, begin small. The habit is the real asset. The number catches up later. Now let me connect this to why this channel exists, because I'm not here to turn you into someone who saves obediently for 40 years and never questions the situation they're saving inside of. This whole ladder, foundation, debt, goals, account, investing, for me it isn't mainly about retiring someday, it's about options. It's the difference between, I wish I could leave this job, and I can afford to leave this job. A wish is fragile. It dies the first time rent gets scary. A funded plan is different. In my world, I've been quietly moved off a project under a generic team allocation reason, the kind of phrase that sounds neutral and means nothing, while everyone involved knows it isn't. I'm not naming anyone. That's not the point, and I don't do it here. The point is structural. A job can decide you're no longer useful with one email, and if that job is your only ground, you have no reply. This ladder is how you build a reply, and on a low income especially, where the whole system quietly assumes you'll always be too stretched and too tired to build anything of your own, that reply is everything. Step 5. Diversify, so one bad bet can't sink you. If your whole plan is one hot stock or one coin, it might look exciting, but it's a plate with only one food on it. When that one thing drops, everything drops. The simple fix is a broad index fund. One purchase that spreads your money across hundreds of companies and sectors at once, so the winners quietly offset the losers and you don't lie awake tied to a single company's fate. Simple, cheap, diversified. On a small income, you especially can't afford to gamble the little you're putting in, so don't. Spread it. Step 6. Automate everything, because the secret is doing almost nothing. The investors who do best are often the ones who touch their accounts the least, so take yourself out of it. Set a transfer that moves money from your account into your investment the moment you're paid, before your life can spend it. This does two things. It makes investing consistent without relying on willpower, and it protects you from your own emotions, because when the market drops, you don't have to decide anything. The system already did. You get to just live your life while it compounds in the background. Willpower fails, automation doesn't. And the honest reason all of this matters isn't the money for its own sake. It's that you're building assets that eventually buy back your time. Time is the real currency. I learned that when my mom had a cerebral hemorrhage and I became the coordinator, holding a demanding job in one hand and being her primary support with the other, trying to build a proper care structure while still showing up to client meetings as if nothing in my life had cracked open. What a draining job steals in a season like that isn't just energy, it's hours with the person who needs you that you never get back. Chronic stress from a job you can't afford to leave isn't just unpleasant, it's a real, measurable cost to your body and your brain over time. I won't dramatize it, but I won't pretend it isn't real either. That's the whole reason to build your own ground, even slowly, even on a small income. Money buys options, options buy time, and time is the one thing you can't earn back later. Let me be transparent about my own money while we're here, because I only ever point you toward things I actually earn from. I use affiliate links in my videos. If you buy through them, I earn a small commission at no extra cost to you. It's a free way to support the channel so I can keep making things like this for free, and I only link products I genuinely use. I've also got an ebook that goes deeper into a lot of this. The link's in the description below if you want it, no pressure. Other things I'm testing, I'll only ever tell you about once they actually work. That's the deal here. I don't sell you my experiments dressed up as my income. And there's one free thing I do want to hand you because I'd rather give you something that runs this whole order than just talk you through it. There's a line this channel lives on. Keep your trust in check to build real wealth. Keep, as in know your earnings so you can escape the paycheck. And trust is a free tool I built to actually do it. Track, reclaim, understand, save, time. You put in your own numbers, and it shows you your own first hour kept, month after month, so this ladder stops being a video you nodded along to and turns into something you can watch add up. It's completely free. The link's in the description. You pop your name and email in, and it's yours. It doesn't tell you what to do with your money. It's not advice. It just holds up a mirror to what you're already doing so you can finally see it. So there's the whole order, and I want the quiet version of it, not the loud one, because I'm not a transformation story, and there was no single magic moment. Get your foundation in place. Kill the expensive debt, the loan, the card, whatever charges you most. Know what you're investing for. Pick the tax-advantaged account. Start small and stay consistent. Diversify with a broad index fund. Automate the whole thing so it runs without you. Then repeat it month after unglamorous month while life stays complicated. That's it. It's not luck, and it's not a lucky break. It's a plain order run hundreds of times, and it works precisely because it's plain, and precisely because it works on a small income. That's the part I actually need you to believe, because I've lived both versions. The one where I earned more and it didn't help because I had no order, and the one where the order matters more than the size of the paycheck. You don't get free by accident. You get free by design, one deliberate, boring decision at a time, starting from exactly where you are, however small that is. And on the days it feels too slow to be worth it, there will be plenty of those. The whole instruction is just, keep going. The people who get free aren't the ones who found a shortcut. They're the ones who didn't stop. That's how I'm doing it. In real numbers, out loud, loan and €5 months and all. So before you go, that question from earlier is the one I really want you sitting with. So here it is again. When money's tight, what comes first for you, killing the debt or building the buffer? Drop your honest answer below. Pick a side. Tell me why, and I'll pin the one that makes me rethink my own order. And if any of this was useful, subscribe. This is a plan I'm building in public, low-income beginnings and all, and I'd genuinely like you here for the rest of it. Educational, not financial advice. Just the order I'm running on my own way out. See you in the next one.